the special shirts game against against the Aussies in 2014.
14. Yeah, it was the year after the World Cup, wasn't it? The special shirts game.
Yeah. Well, I think that is the point we were saying. The world's best winger thing is a tag that's just stuck around because at that time he was legitimately in that conversation. Yeah. I don't think he's been. I think Bernard's been harsh. I think Hall is on the downturn. Yeah. And I think everyone will recognise that. Even his biggest doe-eyed supporters like Dr. Bob Phillips would realise that. But his record does still speak for itself, and last year in the Four Nations he was still scoring tries against the big boys.
And I anticipate that he'll be doing that come October or November in the World Cup as well.
Okay, and then Sean Orton at Bruiser664 got in touch on the same sort of theme and said that Ryan Hall try, talking about, I think this would be...
The one we were talking about.
Yeah, well, there was two, wasn't there, in that game? I think the one that he's specifically talking about here was the video ref call one. So that Ryan Hall try is why I don't like corner flags being removed. Lots of nice tries by now, but none will be as spectacular as that one. This was the one where he was going out of the field of play and somehow managed to reach his hands, whilst his whole body almost, other than his toes, were outside the field of play. He managed to reach his hands back inside and get the ball down. There was the other one where he beat his man to the corner sort of thing and squeezed in as well, but this was the one from the long ball from Sinfield and I think, if I'm right, or was it Chase? One of them threw a long ball out, and it was great, exciting stuff. But I don't know if it was more spectacular than some of these leaps and flips and jaunts through the air we see these days.
I think the point he's making is that it facilitates that, doesn't it, with the corner flags now being removed? But
yes, it does.
I don't mind that. I think it adds to the game, so I agree. I have no problem with that.
Whilst taking nothing away from the almost impossibility of that try that we've got to celebrate.
It's improved because the flags are in play. Do you know what I mean? The quality of it is actually greater because of that.
Because he's still. The thing is, if the ball had touched the flag, the flag's in play still, isn't it? It's only if the
man touched the flag.
Yeah. So he could have but he.
It was a phenomenal.
He still had to get it inside the field of play, and I still think it wouldn't have made. I don't think he would have been able to score it any differently whether flags were in play or not.
No,
it was brilliant athleticism.
It certainly was.
Okay,
back to Bernard.
Yeah, more Bernard. He said, without responding, there's no one else. Please tell me why Bennett would pick Watkins for England. #Leeds backs bash 2.
Yeah, well, look, it makes a good point, and it's hard to go against him based on the performance we saw this week from a lot of Leeds backs, really. Look, I take the point. I think the point he's trying to make is that whilst Watkins has got it offensively, he is still very prone in defence.
Well, maybe Bernard doesn't respect his physical gifts in attack as much as the general picture is. But I've said for so many years about his defence, and it's never seemed to fully improve.
No.
Whether they're defending him 2 men in from the sideline or 3 men in from the sideline, he often gets caught out of position. He doesn't hit his weight in defence either.
Yeah.
He jumps the line ridiculously, and these things are all big issues. I can't recall too many times where he's really been punished for it though at international level. But because all the examples that spring to mind for me in my head are him in a Leeds shirt, maybe because we see it so much more often of him in a Leeds shirt. In terms of the conversation about the alternatives in the centre position, because I do think it's a worthy conversation to have about whether there are alternatives. And you will be looking around the league, and there's people like Percival and Gildart who are, again, far more qualities in attack probably than defence. Gildart's a solid defender but not an imposing one. Percival has some of the same fallibilities in defence that Watkins has. Has a massive skill range in attack. Both of those two players tend to play on the left. In fact, I've never seen them have good games on the right, really. Michael Shenton's an option.
He's another left centre, isn't he?
Again, there's people you could pull in from the back row, like John Bateman or Elliot Whitehead or something like that, but that slows your team down.
I think you want a specialist centre. What about a Minikin?
Well, that's a name that's never really been thrown in there. I'm not sure if he is a specialist centre. This year I've seen him play better on the wing than the centre. That's a question mark over that. The other options are your full-backs who can play in the centre. Now, Stefan Ratchford has played a lot of right centre, but again, I think he has some defensive read lapses. Zach Hardacre would do a great job in either centre. I'm pretty sure he won grand finals in right centre for Leeds Rhinos in his first couple of years there. So, but then does that weaken your full-back position?
Well, it depends who your full-back is, doesn't it? So if, for argument's sake, Zach Hardacre is the answer to the question, who do we play instead of Callum Watkins, who do we put as full-back? Yeah. Because that presupposes that in everyone's mind Zach Hardacre is England full-back, which rules out 3 or 4 candidates immediately that are at least worthy of discussion. So...
Well, Tompkins has gone from the squad, even though his improvements are picking up. His performances are picking up, Ratchford had the spot, didn't he, when Hardacre played in the centres anyway, but so did Watkins play in that game too, in the game against Samoa. It's an interesting selection dilemma. I wouldn't say that there's no one else, but I think he's got a lot of great stuff to offer, even though he's always been a little bit unfulfilled in that we've expected for 5-6 years now for him to become world class, and he still has forgotten to really improve his defence enough to do that.
For me, the answer to the question, please tell me why Wayne Bennett would pick Watkins for England, I think the answer to the question is because right centre is an area of specialist weakness for us as a team. Okay. So it's the lesser of so many evils, I suspect.
Alfie Garner at Alfie Wolf, another callback to another Bernard topic actually, said, regards Burgess ball carrying. Yep, you have a more natural hand to carry the ball, but the same with passing. Pros should practice ! Exclamation mark.
Agreed. I don't think we need to. I think we can draw a line under that conversation now from a couple of weeks ago. There's no need to rehash. I think you make a very good point there, Darren.
Alan Walker at Alan Paul Walker. Top right call on this one. Remember this callback for when we get to the game reviews. But top right call on cokeheads. There's stupidity and there's need for help. The problem is coke doesn't look good for parents of kid players.
Absolutely, I agree completely. And that's why there should be some form of punitive measure for both players.
More Bernard on the Bernard JKD hour.
Excellent.
I think there's a typo here. He says long running POS. I don't know if he means pods.
I think he means pros.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, no, maybe not.
Long-running POS often morph into cheerleading for their subject matter. I think I guess he means you, are now doing so. I appreciate one certainly can't lambast the whole time, but the latest all's well in the garden slant isn't doing it for me. Nigel Wood isn't worth that money by any quantitative criteria, and I will sign that petition.
Fair, good. Go. Please feel free to sign that petition.
Is he suggesting that we're cheerleading for our subject matter? Because if that's what he's suggesting, then yes, we fucking are. We're rugby league fans. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't think rugby league was fantastic.
Yeah, but I think you can also go so far as to say that we don't look at it through rose-tinted glasses and we can be equally as critical. I think the point we were making last week is that actually the money that Nigel Wood is being paid is a fair amount of money considering the breadth of the job. The problem is that the job's too big.
Yeah, and whether the thing about the vote of no confidence idea, which is what the petition is for, is I don't know if I'm in a position to say I have no confidence in Nigel Wood to do any of the functions of his job, or at least be involved in any transition of that job if it was going to someone else. Now, the structure of the RFL has changed with the general manager of Super League role that came in a couple of years ago, and now is with Fred Draper. And I think that's taken some of the powers and some of the significance of Nigel Wood's role away from him. Now, if that means he should get a cut in salary, I don't know. I don't know how much of his salary incorporates the stuff he does for the RLIF, and whether there's funds paid in from that body to this body to pay that salary. I don't know. It's all very confusing. I think we said last week there's been some positives like revenue increases, sponsorship increases. There's been some negatives like participation going down, like question marks still over the structure of the sport, like issues with stagnation of attendances, stagnation of viewing figures. So there's goods, there's levels, and there's bads, and it's about how do we solve that. And just cutting ties completely with no confidence in the man who probably has the most experience may be a difficult thing for me to get my head around, even though I'm not saying he should stay in his job indefinitely or without threat or challenge to what's been going on.
Absolutely. Okay, there you go.
But I'll cheerlead for rugby league in general, sort of subject matter, because I love rugby league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dom Hodgson at the Hodge said 100% with Tom re Nigel. Speaking as a fat man, if your first point in a debate is weight, I'm not going to listen to the second.
There you go.
On the same theme, Dr. Bob Phillips goes, where Tom Crook stands up against body shaming men, well done, you big hairy hunk of RL heroism. And Mark Wilco gets in touch as well and says that genuinely the Tom rant was spot on.
There you go.
Well,
That's it.
I felt like you stepped a little bit on my joke about his ill-fitting suits, because large or small,
Yeah, large or small, his suits don't fit.
my point was like the amount of material used to make those suits is far more than needs to be for the actual cut of the man.
He could be dressed in a much better. He could be tailored far better. Maybe he's not been paid enough if he can't get himself down to Savile Row quickly enough. But yeah, that was away from the conversation about whether or not he can or can't do his job. The number of people who preface everything they say about the guy with fat Nige this and fat Nige that, you just undermine any point you're making in my eyes by lumping on personal criticism of the man.
Well, you've got lots of support all round for that, so that's, good stuff.
I'm reminded of the song from Family Guy where he goes to the fat man's club and stand up, all fat men, stand up straight.
Oh, I thought you were going to say where it says to Lois, fat men can't...
There are no fat men, Lois. Only fat women are fat. Very good.
Paul Michael Craig at PaulMac_78, he said, your pronunciation of Lebanese surnames is better than your pronunciation of Aboriginal place names. Also, did Tom ever have a ponytail?
No, and I don't know why he asked me that. Why would I have had a ponytail?
Because you made a gag about seeing to my mum.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did, didn't I?
Another one from Dargona and from Paul. I haven't seen it this week, Tom.
Two a week.
Another one from Dargana and Paul Campbell on the same theme. We talked about who the big lad was from Grange Hill.
Yeah.
Alfie says Rolly or Rollo for the tank from Grange Hill, perhaps. Yeah. And then Paul with a more specific Roland in Grange Hill.
Yes.
And also he meant the Challenge Cup final for a meet up, not the grand final.
Not the grand final, like which he's not coming to, although he suggested we all meet up.
So yeah, the Challenge Cup final will be there.
Yeah.
We're still not sure on the ins and outs of what time we'll get there.
If things go to plan, it'd be night. I'm fucking slow afterwards.
And all things going according to plan 2 will be in the Wembley area around about 2 to 2.5 hours before kick-off.
Yes, we will.
So we'll see what happens there. On the grand final, though,
yeah,
I think we could actually organise something more solid.
Yeah.
If people express a firm interest and people who've already got tickets, to the grand final or just live in Manchester.
Yeah.
And we can actually probably think of something a bit firmer for that if there is genuine interest there. I'm not going to make any inquiries or anything like that unless I know there's genuine firm interest in that, and then we can start to think about stuff. One thing that floated into my head the other day is the McAvoy brothers.
Right. Oh, they've got a bar, haven't they?
Their brew house
is
on an industrial estate just past the Lowry.
Yes, it is.
Now, it's a little bit of a walk from OT.
I think there's a bar. They have a bar as well.
They do have a bar, that's in Ancoats.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the other side of the city centre.
Oh, I see, okay. We could have a word with one of the McAvoys.
But we could see if their brew house could be open on the sort of afternoon before the grand final, and see if we could hook something up with that, and then maybe sort out taxis or whatever. I don't know if people don't want to walk because it is a little bit of a walk, 20 minutes or so, I would guess.
I wonder if half an hour maybe going to the grand final rather than opening their brewery.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway. That was my thought. Mark at Wilco2205, a lot from him this week as well. Weirdly, I heard Tom's kangaroo story for the first time 3 days ago. It comes up in the movie Arrival. It's not true, though, sadly.
Yeah, I've watched the movie Arrival since that tweet, and it does come up, and they debunk it, so... Another piece of my childhood smashed. Cheers, cheers, Wilco.
Well, some other things getting smashed is some quiz scores. So, Fatboy Rob said, even though I got a 0 on the quiz, yes, even the cast players, that is fucking abysmal.
That is atrocious.
Give back
the instant.
Do you remember when
this is why you can't have
people
good
gave
things.
a shit about not knowing who Don Joyner was, who was a player who played before we were really aware too much of who was playing?
Well, no, he is a player of some repute. Let's not get carried away.
But, do you know what I mean? This guy couldn't get fucking Ryan Hudson or...
No. Andy Lynch.
Exactly.
Andy Lynch. Come on. This is why you can't have nice things, this is, Rob.
This is still the top rugby league podcast to listen to. Maybe he's changed his mind after that last second or two.
Fair play.
Mitchell Dart said, great quiz. Brutal, but great. 10 out of 36. I went blank on some I should have known. Was happy to get para legend Chris Thorman, though.
Of course, he did have a spell, didn't he?
Yeah, keep that in mind for a potential Brits in the NRL quiz down the way.
You'd have to, yeah.
Paul Michael Craig, he did a bit better. He said 6